What's going on, everyone? So one of the things that I talked about after we saw Jeannie Buss and the news of Mark Walters allowing Jeannie Buss to stay governor for the next 5 years, said Rob Pelinka's probably going to be around for that same amount of period, right? Sign that new deal, right? So probably not going anywhere anytime soon. Well, Dave McMenamin is reporting that the Los Angeles Lakers are expected to keep Rob Pelinka at least Jeannie Buss's tenure. Right? So buckle in, get comfortable, because Rob Pelinka, he's going to be the guy at the helm for at least the next handful of years, well through Luka's new extension. Right? And once he gets through that extension, then maybe they'll work it out from there. Now, I'm fine with that personally. Right? He's done a much better job over the last few seasons than he did in the beginning of his tenure. You've seen the progress. Right? Most of the things that people criticize him for was years ago, right? Like literally like 5 years ago at this point. So he's been better at just being patient and letting things come, right? Now, again, is he without his faults? No, of course. But he's done more than most GMs in the league in a much shorter time and window, right? He just got Luka, locked him in long term. Here's the other thing too. Rob Pelinka, this is the first year, and I talked about this, first year, he gets to make all of the decisions. He's the guy, right? He is the president of basketball operations. Now, some of you might be thinking, Tyler, he already was the president of basketball operations. No. He was the vice president of basketball operations. He had to go to Jeannie Buss and the Kurt Rambis and Linda Rambis and all that stuff. And anything that he wanted to do had to go through them first. Well, guess what? Rob Pelinka now is the president of basketball operations, so he can stamp those decisions all on his own. So this is the first year where we'll get to see, and I said this going into the offseason, this will be the first year we get to see what can Rob Pelinka do. And so far, he's done a very good job. Say what you want to say about this team and stuff. Given the circumstances, given the situation we were going into, heading into this offseason, he's done fantastic. He got arguably the best center that you could have possibly gotten, whether it's trade or buyout. Got us a legit point of attack, all defensive type of guy, Marcus Smart, that the only question is, can he stay healthy? Got a young potential 3-and-D wing and Jake LaRavia. Got a nice, excellent draft pick that I think has some real potential in, a dude Thero. He still has all of his assets. He still has everything. Rob Pelinka's done a much better job of being patient, right? Staying the course, allowing things to develop, and his patience has paid off. Right? That's the key. Say what you want about the Luka situation and they fell in his. He still had to do the negotiations. He still had to make sure the deal didn't get closed. I've talked about it. If you're a salesman and somebody walks through the door, yes, you didn't do the effort. You didn't go do, pay advertisers and all this stuff to go bring in that customer. He just happened to stumble in. But it's still your job, even though he wants to buy that car or whatever, it's still your job to sell him on that. And the price that gets you the best return, right? Well, that's what Rob did. At the end of the day, he could have lost that deal. He could have botched that deal. He could have given up too much. Whatever. He did an excellent job with that, and then continued to reward his patience with Deandre Ayton and Jake LaRavia and so on and so forth. So I am willing to give Rob Pelinka a real opportunity because, again, this is his first opportunity. Here's the thing, though. Rob Pelinka is in a bit of a time crunch, right? Luka says he wants his jersey to retire in the rafters, that he wants him to, be an all-time Laker, and that's great. But that could change quickly. How much of that was just him, saying all the right things because it's his moment, right? But if you don't win championships with Luka Doncic, 1, it's going to go down as a failure. 2, you're going to not look as good. 3, Luka could leave. And even if they get rid of you, it might be too late by that point. Now this new GM's got to come in and he's already leaving because his contract's up. So Rob Pelinka is on the clock here a bit. Right? And I've talked about, I I hope that he keeps his foot on the gas. I hope he doesn't kind of relinquish it a little bit and go, okay, put his legs up and go, we're good, right? He wants to stay a Laker forever, wants his name up in the rafters, right? We're out partying and going to Backstreet Boys concerts and living our best life and doing all this stuff. And that's beautiful. I love to see it. I love it. I love to see the chemistry. I love seeing the fun, right? Luka, the environment, you're building those relationships, all of that. I love that. Right? But at the end of the day, your job is to put together a winning product here. Now, I see a lot of people that go like, oh, Rob Pelinka can't build a title contender. Except he has. Right? He built the 2020 championship team in which the Lakers won. Right? And then usually the follow-up question is, yeah, but then he tore it down. He didn't tear it down the following season. If the Lakers didn't get hurt, right? If LeBron James wasn't hobbled in on one leg with the Solomon Hill injury, Anthony Davis says, and we still were up 2-1 against the Western Conference representatives, and then Anthony Davis went down. And that was before Dennis Schroeder. He ended up getting COVID, and he wasn't the same that year. Andre Drummond ended up having that the toe injury, right? Like, that team got decimated by injuries. Otherwise, they probably go back-to-back. So, again, and then, the Russell Westbrook situation happened and all that stuff, which, by the way, LeBron James and Anthony Davis had a hand in that. Again, you can Google it. I've done videos on it. I've talked about it. Like, LeBron James and Anthony Davis and Russell Westbrook went to Anthony Davis's house, and they agreed that they were going to team up, play together, work together, and they were all willing to do whatever it took and sacrifice whatever they need. And Anthony Davis was willing to play center and all this stuff to make it work. They went to Jeannie, said, get this done. Jeannie went to Rob and said, get this done, and Rob ended up pulling it off. But Rob is the scapegoat, right? Rob then turned that around and ended up getting us Buddy Hield and Miles Turner, to this day, I believe the Lakers win a championship, because we would have been much better matched up against the Denver Nuggets, right? And you still would have done probably the Rui trade and some of these other things, but you also wouldn't have had to do the Jared Vanderbilt or the D'Lo and all those other trades and all that other things. So you could have done other moves and made other decisions and brought in other guys and probably still went on the same type of run, right? So regardless, I think the Lakers would have been better and maybe win an NBA championship, right? We won't know, that never a thing. But Jeannie vetoed that. People don't point to Rob and go like, oh, like, hey, it's not like, no, people just blame Rob. Oh, you botched that. Right? No, he did it. That's not his fault. He had to go and answer to Jeannie, and Jeannie said no. Jeannie goes and listens to the Rambis family, and they don't know what they're doing because they failed at everything but, from a basketball perspective, everything except for on-court production. Right? He's been everything. He's been a GM, he's been a coach, been all that stuff, and hasn't had success. Right? So, again, like, there are a lot of things to criticize Rob Pelinka for. The type of contracts and the structure of the contracts and all that stuff. He does it from a very player-friendly way. And maybe that's the agent in him, where he's looking out for the player rather than the organization. But that needs to change, especially the player option thing. Certain things, sure. Right? Like Deandre Ayton, for example. Like, you probably don't get him unless you have the player option. That's justified. It's understandable. It's fine. But like Jackson Hayes, we saw, last year, all the player options ended up biting us in the butt because all the guys opted in because they knew that they weren't going to get contracts anywhere, and they're all out of the league, right? So, like, it's those kind of things, right? Like, Rob Pelinka has made a lot of bad decisions, don't get me wrong. But a lot of the stuff that people blame him for and kind of throw at him, one, are all, like, old news, like very old news, not recent news, and a lot of it wasn't his fault. A lot of it had nothing to do with him. He's just doing a job. Anyway, I hear people all the time go, oh, but he's the GM. It's your responsibility. You go to your job tomorrow, and when your boss tells you to do something, tell him to pound sand and see how quickly you're there. Right? Guess what happens if Rob Pelinka goes, nah, I'm not trading for Russell Westbrook. Okay, cool. You're fired, and we'll bring this guy in that's going to do it. Like, no, what are you going to do? You're going to do, like, if your boss tells you to take out the trash, right, and you tell your boss, I ain't doing that, or that ain't my job, or whatever, guess what? Okay, fine, you're right. Tell you what, you're fired, and I'll bring somebody in that will do that. Thanks. right? Like, he's not going to risk his job because fans are happy. Like, it's foolishness. Like, again, there's a lot of things to criticize Rob for, but he has improved. You've seen the growth. You've seen the just the change in the way that he operates. And I like it. It's good. It's what you want to see. Again, we can be honest about the situation. It's like people want a scapegoat. I get it. It's fandom. Every fan of everything, you always want that scapegoat. If it's not the coach, it's always an individual player, right? It's Russell Westbrook's fault. Now it's Darvin Ham's fault. Now it's not just ever one person. There's so many factors that go into it, but people always want to blame the front man. Rob Pelinka's the front man. I get that. But we still need to be honest on the situation. Especially now because he's probably the GM for the next 5 years. So, again, you better get comfortable because he's the guy. But he's on a clock. Because if you don't do what you're supposed to do, Luka Doncic could leave. Luka Doncic could say, you know what? I'm good. I'm out. And that now becomes a problem. So, here we go. All right? We're going to see what Rob kind of continues to do into this season, the 2026, 2027 season, and that ends up working out for us. But anyways, always, this is a discussion, pass question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out. We enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.